About 45 minutes north of Columbus for this corn harvest cab cam in Marion County, just outside of Marion. David Niederhuber, my guest, and he's with Lill Farms. And David, how's harvest going so far in this part of the state?
It's been going really well. Beans were done a couple weeks ago, and about 3/4 of the way done with corn.
About 2 months ago, if I told you you were going to get these kind of yields at harvest time in the cornfield, would you believe me?
Would have been skeptical. I did some walking in them in early August and pulled some yield checks, and it's coming back, most of them better than my yield checks.
This field planted on May 23rd, and kind of tell me about the growing season here in 2016 in this area.
Wet to start with. We kind of got late planted. Caught some rains when we needed them. Had a 5-week stretch in late July, early August with no rain, so we're pretty happy with the yield we're getting.
We've heard all around the state about the soybeans. Same story here?
Soybeans did really well for us, yeah.
Now, as we take a look at Lill Farms, it's been around since 1862, many generations here on this farm, and even though that it's traditional in many ways, you're trying out some new things. Across the road here we have some cover crops with a new combination you're trying out.
Yeah, that's the field we're going to try this year, cereal rye and winter pea. That was planted after the beans came off, and we're going to kind of experiment with it and see what it does next year on the yield monitor and what it looks like in the spring when we go to plant corn into it.
Also, something a little non-traditional is a double crop they plant after wheat, and that's buckwheat. And they just took that harvest here this past weekend in Marion County, about 50 acres or so of buckwheat. Tell me about that crop and why you grow it and where it goes to when it's done.
Buckwheat we grow after the wheat comes off, the double crop. Grows really fast, gives us good weed control on the wheat through the season there. Generates some extra income from that field. Also does pretty well for recycling, pulling nutrients back up into the soil profile for them to use next year. One of the other big factors is that it will help dry out that wheat stubble next spring when we go to plant beans back into it.
Harvest usually around this time of year, but after the first frost, and that hasn't happened yet, and so you had to kind of take matters into your own hands.
We ended up going in, we got a little bit of a frost, enough to kill it off a little bit. It was still pretty green when we cut it, but we got the moisture down pretty close, so we cut it anyways. Where
does that go?
It will be hauled up to New York, up into the Finger Lakes region to the mill. It's a direct contract, 100% production contract with the mill up there, and we buy the seed from them directly, and the buckwheat all goes back up there.
David Niederhuber, my guest here in Marion County, taking off some corn here the 2nd of November. Higgins with the Corn Harvest Cab Cam on the Ohio AgNet. We'll see you down the road.